all those adjustments can be made in the initial system setup. Also, another thing that can be adjusted, obviously, is how wide of a shot that you have the instructor or presenter in. All of those are basic system setups. Something that might come up that actually some of you might be thinking about now that you've posed that question was a lot of people wonder why it doesn't zoom in and out except for when I hit a preset. And basically what that is that's to control on the far end any seasickness type feeling, any motion sickness, because
Yep.
if the camera was zooming in and out and going back and forth, eventually people start to get that motion sickness feeling from the change in the camera. So that's why the camera doesn't zoom in and out either, except for when a trigger is hit, is because of that reason.
Okay, second question. As you present to us, can you see yourself so that you can see how you're coming across to us and students and so on?
Yeah, actually in the back of my room, I have two 42-inch monitors. I have you guys on my right monitor, so I can see you, and then I also have a monitor of myself, so I can see basically what you're seeing on this front monitor. That's what I see on the back monitor.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, who wants the next cap? All right, yes, come on, if you'd like to. Give you your hat.
Oh, hi Jessica. Thanks for the presentation. Joe Krogman, University of Guelph. Just had a question about the lanyards. How does your system handle multiple lanyards, and can they be covered up, or, I mean, honestly, they're not the most attractive thing, but, and how does it handle if you walk behind something? Does it still work? Is that too many questions
Yes.
at once?
No. So thanks, Joe. Basically, you would only be using one lanyard in a room. But let's say you have consecutive rooms, it's not going to pick up. The system has built-in IR to built-in technology for IR interference. So again, as you can see, like people worry about the IR emitting off of displays and other items throughout the room. There's technology built into the system to avoid any of that. Now, as for hiding the lanyard, unfortunately, you do have to have the lanyard out because basically, if you could, there's a special screenshot that we do at large trade shows when we have the auto track set up. And what it is it looks completely dark and all you see are these white little lights kind of floating around to be able to show you actually the IRs working. So in that case, no, it's not like you would be able to, hide it under a coat or something because they do need to be able to be seen. That's just part of the technology. And then of course the little belt pack that I'm wearing here, that's just holding my batteries for the system. So for the actual lanyard.
Is your microphone in the lanyard?
There actually
Oh.
is. You can purchase the system in two different ways, with or without audio. There is a built-in, almost like a cell phone microphone in the lanyard, and that can be turned on or off via the hip pack here. So even if I'm, say, utilizing the system in a room that already has audio set up, that I don't need this microphone, I can go ahead and turn it off and on whenever I need to be able to use it.
Okay. And I mean, it sounds like you've got a pretty elaborate setup where you are right now, but what's the simplest setup you've ever done of this nature in like a classroom or a seminar room?
The simplest setup would basically be just a tracking system, say without any triggers, that they're just utilizing it to be able to walk about. Or, like I talked about, when not using tracking, you know, an easy setup would just be a single camera in the back of the room, you know, a couple mats on the floor in different spots. And again, you've kind of got a well-rounded system without an operator. So, I mean, it kind of, I've done everything from large, you know, intricate systems with, you know, using all 72 presets because, you know, they have so many different locations, to just small, simple applications. So we can kind of cover every base.
Okay, next hat. Certainly there must be more, okay, very good.
Hey Jesse, Corey, thank you. Ballpark cost for a low end setup?
So basically, the AutoTrack system itself, uh, um, now I'm quoting in US dollars, is around $15,000 for an AutoTrack system and setup. Now there is our existing motion-based system, TrackView, and that you can utilize if you want a standard definition system. And ballpark on those are around $9,000 for the existing TrackView motion-based system. So if you wanted to have a system where you had some mats, an auto presenter for your switching, and then again your auto track system, MSRP, you could do that for around I would say around 21,000.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Another question? You guys have?
I got one question.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Darren from the Richard Ivey School of Business. We've just implemented Crestron in all of our classrooms. So can you control this from a Crestron touch panel, the presets in that? And second question, we have Sony high-def cameras in the back of our classrooms, and are those okay to use? They're pan, tilt, zoom camera. Thanks.
So basically, in regards to Crestron, of course, you can use Crestron. Nice thing about that is that you've also got those trigger ports usually on your system as well to be able to allow you to add in some different triggers, whether it's mics or the mats and stuff like that. So that's no issue at all. You can have your system fed in through Crestron or directly in through your codec. And your other question in regards to the other cameras. Now, AutoTrack uses the Vadio Clearview HD18 high definition camera. There are some, people are familiar with our camera line. You can go ahead and order just a Clearview HD18 PTZ camera. There are actually some things that we add on to the camera and differentiate when shipping one out with a tracking system. Now, say you have existing cameras in your room, you can always use them for, move them to other areas for other cameras. Say, for example, like the student camera as a front room camera shot. But unfortunately with tracking, because there are some differences that we do to the camera, for AutoTrack, it is using the Vadio Clearview HD18 camera, which to give you kind of the specs on that, it's an 18 times optical zoom. It's simultaneous SD outputs of component and composite. You can get a DVI HDMI version as well for tracking. It's 720p, 1080i, 1080p. So whatever your codec is outputting, we can do the same resolution for you. So that's kind of the details about the camera. It's not like it's a system that you could just take any pan tilt zoom camera, add it in, and it would work. We do some special things to the camera to create the technology.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
Don't need the second half.
Oh, no, more than welcome.
Hi, Jesse. You said you had 72 presets, and yet on the trigger boxes, I only see a couple of buttons. How does that work? Do you have to have 36 trigger boxes, or how do you,
Nope.
how do you fire the 72 presets?
So basically what happens is on the box here, on the front, what you see are, right here are all the inputs on the bottom here. And on the top is like your wipes and cuts. And then you've got buttons here that say first step, last step, and multi-step mode. Now what happens is on the back here is where, along the back here is where all my triggers are gonna come into. So when you start setting presets in your system, so you start setting preset 1, preset 2, preset 3, with the remote. So you'll set the camera to where you want it, and then you'll go ahead and set that as preset 1. You'll set the camera to where you want it, preset 2, and so on. So you're actually doing it with the system. It's not like you're recalling the presets via buttons. You might be thinking of something more along the lines of, like here is one of our production views, and up here, this allows for up to 12 presets per camera. And up here, you'll see 2 rows of 6, and that's your 12 presets. So you hit your button and it goes to, you know, camera shot 1, or, you know, preset 1, and camera 1, preset 2. That's what you might be referring to, where in the sense of like Auto Presenter or our box switcher that doesn't have a joystick at all, that is actually, the presets are kept inside, and so the only way that they're triggered is by whatever's triggering them throughout the room, whether it's your mics, or your step view mats, or your touch view RF buttons. That's what's recalling the preset, not somebody actually pressing a button.
Okay, anyone else? Nope, okay. The hats are courtesy of our Canadian representative. Now, Vadio's in the States, and we have an excellent working relationship with Vadio. We work directly with them. We also work directly with our representative here in Canada. So, you know, there's no trouble there if we, you know, need support regardless. We're here in Canada as well. Andrea is at the back. She's our representative who is here today from Data Visual, and thank you for the hats. And if you want to take a moment and have a look at Squiggle, or ask any more questions that you might have regarding Vadio in general, or the products that they supply, by all means, talk to Andrea. She's an expert on that. And if there's nothing else at this point. Oh, yes, we have it. We have another question. Absolutely. And this deserves just to have
Thanks, one for each head. Just wondering, in a presentation like you're doing now, there's, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 people in the room. Does this technology allow you to broadcast, let's say, okay, so I'm at home. Is there some way that I can plug in and get your presentation?
That will actually be your question for this afternoon with Accordant and Polycom.
Should I give the hat
yes,
back?
You can use, obviously, you know, since I'm more of the front end of the system, but we integrate obviously all the time, and I do projects, you know, where it comes up all the time, like, well, how am I going to get it from point A to point B?
Yep.
Basically, that's Polycom and Accordant will be able to answer that more thoroughly. But yeah, you can have the system set up so that, because actually we have 2 ways of doing this in general anyways. Right now you're seeing it via using a codec and doing video conferencing. We also are able to demo this system, this room system, via streaming. So we can have people log into an IP address and they can actually see the stream.